She chose chaos over me, and I walked away quietly, at least that's what I tell myself. But when she returned with tears, broken promises, and a story that didn't add up, something inside me stopped feeling compassion. Maybe I let her drown. Maybe I just stopped pulling her back to shore. We were standing in the cramped parking lot behind her building, the pavement still warm from the day. I had one hand curled around a set of car keys I'd spent months saving up for, planning to surprise her with them. I was actually excited, heart pounding, palms sweaty, like I was about to hand someone the future they'd always talked about. Instead, she looked at me with this calm, rehearsed expression and said, "I think we should just be friends. My ex needs me more." For a second, I honestly thought I heard her wrong. The quiet of that parking lot felt louder than her voice, like everything around me stopped to make room for what she just said. But there was no misunderstanding. No hesitation in her eyes. Just relief. I slipped the keys back into my pocket, like they had suddenly turned into something embarrassing to show. I looked right at her, not angry, not confused, and I said, quietly, almost peacefully, "All right? I hope you're happy." That was it. No frantic questions, no desperate speeches. I didn't beg. I didn't ask why. Mostly because I already knew. She wasn't choosing someone better, she was choosing a different storyline she wanted to try. She exhaled like she'd been holding her breath all year, like letting me go was the easiest errand she'd run all week. She didn't even realize that what she'd put down, thinking it was just baggage, was actually the last bit of respect I ever had for her. I got into my car and pulled away without looking in the mirror. And strangely, it wasn't dramatic or painful. It felt like walking out of a movie that I couldn't finish because I'd already guessed the ending. At the time, I thought that was the last scene. I was wrong. Emma and I had been together 3 years. I'm a freelance photographer, the kind who hikes up cliffs at sunrise just to catch the light hitting a ridge for half a second. I chase moments, not people. Emma was the opposite. She was numbers and budgets and schedules, an accountant who never left anything uncertain. We worked, or at least I thought we did. I brought spontaneity, she brought structure. Together, it felt balanced. We didn't argue about money, loyalty, or plans. It was safe, quiet, comfortable. But comfort doesn't shine. It doesn't brag. And sometimes, people trade stability for sparkles. Her ex, Ryan, reappeared like some shiny reboot. Suddenly he had a suit, a sleek black BMW, and big stories about business deals and personal growth. He flooded her messages. Talking about missing her. Talking about being better now. Talking like a guy who finally figured life out. At first she was transparent, telling me every message, brushing him off. Then one day she talked about him differently, not like an ex, but like a charity case with potential. Like she could save him. That was the switch. After that came late nights, working on his business plan, dinners with an old friend, sudden errands that didn't quite line up. I never accused her. Not because I trusted Ryan, but because I wanted to see if she'd respect me without pressure, if she'd stay honest without being forced to. Turns out honesty has an expiration date. One night we were eating at a diner we loved, greasy fries, terrible coffee, perfect comfort food. Her phone lit up. "Dinner tonight. I need to talk." She flipped the screen downward like it was toxic. I just took another bite. I didn't confront her. I just let the silence say everything. That's when I realized. I was planning to surprise her with that car. Not to impress her, not to trap her, just because I wanted to make her life easier. Meanwhile, she was prepping her exit like she was switching subscriptions. The next evening, she invited me over with a steady, calm voice. She looked composed, not sad. She said her line, the one that ended us. And the moment she chose her ex, it became painfully clear. She wasn't leaving because she was unhappy. She was leaving because she was curious. So I put the keys back in my pocket. I smiled and said, "I hope you're happy." Then I walked away. And oddly, it felt like air finally entering a room that had been stuffy for months. The aftermath wasn't some cinematic collapse. I didn't drink myself into bad decisions. I didn't stalk her social media. I didn't drive past her apartment just to torture myself. I just kept living. I worked. Slept better than I had in years. Traveled more. Photographed strangers and scenery and life that wasn't draining me. My photos started gaining traction. A small gallery in Portland hosted an exhibition of my work called Stillness. It sold out. Imagine that, peace became my art. People kept mentioning Emma like they expected me to crack. She's seeing that businessman, Ryan. She seems happy. They said it like they were delivering a dramatic twist. All I said was, shiny things are usually hollow. And I meant it. Months went by. Then whispers started. Turns out Ryan's success wasn't success at all. His businesses were flimsy scams funded by loans he never repaid. He lived a life built on debt and borrowed image. Emma paid the price. Literally. She burned through her savings trying to rescue him from debt collectors and failed ventures. One by one, she lost everything, her apartment, her job, and eventually even her dignity. People saw bruises she didn't explain. I didn't feel smug. I felt unsurprised. People who chase illusions eventually discover they're holding fog. By then I'd moved on. While photographing a travel feature in Oregon, I met Leah, an editor with sharp wit and zero tolerance for chaos. We spent long days reviewing shots, teasing each other over coffee, debating color palettes and word choices. She looked at my battered camera once and said, "This thing has seen more living than most people." I laughed harder than I'd laughed in years. Not because she was trying to fix me. Just because it was funny. We kept working together, no drama, no masks, no pretending to be perfect. Somewhere between long drives and late-night edits, I realized something. I didn't miss Emma. I missed the version of her I invented. The one I thought needed my patience instead of honesty. It turns out love isn't about waiting for someone to choose you. Real love doesn't need an audience, a project plan, or shiny distractions. It just shows up. Quietly. Consistently. Without pretending. My phone buzzed late one night while I was editing photos, the screen lighting up my dark room. The number looked familiar in that way old wounds do, recognizable even after months of silence. It was her. Jack. I know I messed up. Ryan's gone. He lied about everything. I'm alone. I know you still care. Please, can we talk? You still love me, don't you? I stared at the message, not with anger, not with nostalgia. Just exhaustion. The kind that sits in your bones. After a long minute, I typed back. I used to love you. But the person I loved wasn't real anymore. I hit send. Blocked the number. Set the phone face down on my desk. No dramatic music, no shaking hands, no ache in my chest. It felt like closing a door that should have been shut months ago. Sometimes closure isn't about talking it out, it's simply choosing not to step back into a burning building. 3 months later, life was quiet again. Leah had fallen asleep on the couch, a book resting open across her chest, breathing soft and steady. I was trimming the exposure on a set of travel photos when fists slammed against the front door hard enough to make the walls shake. At first, I figured it was someone drunk or a delivery mistake. But then came a voice, hoarse, furious, and way too familiar. Jack. Open the door. Don't hide like a coward. I froze. Emma. When I opened the door, the night didn't feel real. Rain hammered the porch. She stood there, soaked to the skin, hair stuck to her face, mascara running in jagged streaks. Behind her stood 3 people holding up their phones like trophies, recording, whispering. Keep filming. Emma jabbed a shaking finger at me, voice cracking under the storm. You left me. You ruined my life. Everything fell apart because of you. No emotion hit me. Just disbelief at how much she'd changed, and how much she wanted someone to blame. The same woman who used to panic if a picture frame wasn't centered was now screaming like a stranger on my doorstep. I didn't yell back. I didn't step toward her. My voice came out steady, low. What are you doing, Emma? She stumbled closer, rain dripping from her jacket, eyes wild. You think you're better than me now? You post your pretty pictures while I suffer? You abandoned me. You broke me. Her friends joined in, shouting, trying to capture a reaction, anything they could twist. Phones filmed every angle like a staged reality show. That's when it clicked. They wanted content. A villain. A viral story. Right then, Leah stepped into view behind me, hair messy from sleep, her voice calm enough to cut through the chaos. I'm calling the police. Emma laughed, a sharp, broken sound that didn't belong to the person I once knew. Go ahead. Let everyone see who he really is. I didn't budge. I just stood there with my hands in my pockets, the kind of calm that drives unstable people straight into rage. When I finally spoke, my voice wasn't cold, it was gentle. You weren't abandoned, Emma. You abandoned yourself when you chose lies over truth. For one instant, I saw it hit her. Her face flickered, the fury slipping just enough to let the truth sting. Then she screamed again, pounding her fists against my chest as her entourage recorded. Leah kept the police on the line until sirens pulled up to the curb. When the officers arrived, I showed them the footage from my security cameras, her trespassing, screaming, trying to force her way inside. Clear as day. No editing needed. One of the officers sighed, clearly used to people destroying their own lives and blaming anyone nearby. Ma'am, you need to leave. If you come back, you'll be arrested for trespassing. Emma shook her head, her voice shaking. He destroyed my life. You don't understand. But even her friends stopped filming, suddenly realizing how bad she looked. Their phones lowered like wilted flags. The officers led them away. Rain streamed across her face, mixing with tears and smeared mascara. She spun toward me as they pulled her off the porch, her voice raw with a mix of rage and heartbreak. You'll regret this. You'll regret not saving me. I didn't answer. I just watched the patrol lights fade into the night. Only when they were gone did I whisper, barely audible, more to myself than anyone else. No, Emma, you're already living with the regret. I closed the door and let the silence settle. The rain outside filled the space she once occupied in my life. Leah slid her hand into mine, warm against my cold fingers. You okay? I nodded, exhaling the last trace of chaos. Yeah. For the first time, I really am. Peace came quickly after that. A few weeks later, Leah and I packed our things and left the city behind. No dramatic goodbye, no movie scene, just 2 people quietly choosing something better. We found a small town on the Oregon coast, tucked between cliffs and evergreens where the ocean sounded like breathing. I opened a tiny photography studio there. White walls, soft daylight, salty air drifting through the window. No clients chasing attention. No fake perfection. Just art that didn't scream for approval. Leah freelanced, writing about coastal towns, local artists, and storms that shook the horizon. Sometimes she'd sit by the window, messy hair and coffee in hand, typing while I developed film in the back room. We didn't talk much about the past. Peace doesn't require narration. Months passed like slow waves. The studio paid the bills. That was enough. I deleted most of my social media, not out of bitterness, but because silence felt better than applause. One chilly morning, while cleaning my desk drawer, I felt something cold against my fingertips. It was a single car key, still on the original ring. The one I once bought for someone who treated love like a contest she needed to win. I turned it in my hand, the sunlight catching on the metal like a memory that finally stopped hurting. Leah walked in holding 2 coffees, eyebrow raised. You look like you just dug up pirate treasure. I laughed softly. Maybe I did. I bought this for someone who never understood love, and now I think it's meant for someone who does. She looked at me, long, steady, certain. Her voice was quiet but sure. Then I'll make sure you never regret giving it away again. And somehow, I knew she wasn't just talking about a car key. She was talking about us. About choosing peace. About the kind of love that doesn't need rescuing or saving. Just honesty. Just presence. Just two people who show up, without chaos, without pretending. For the first time, I realized I wasn't starting over. I was finally starting right. That evening, we finally took the car out. The highway stretched ahead of us like a quiet promise, the ocean running beside us like it had nowhere else to be. The sun was melting into the horizon, those deep golds and oranges photographers obsess over but never quite capture the way they look in person. Wind rushed through the cracked window, the radio played something soft and slow, and neither of us bothered to fill the silence. It felt good, that kind of quiet. The kind that doesn't demand anything. After a long stretch of road, Leah looked over at me, her hair catching the last bit of sunlight. Do you ever think about her? I didn't answer right away. I let the question sit there, let the road hum beneath the tires. I thought about Emma, not her face, not the drama, but the version of me that used to stand there holding patience like it was proof of love. The version of me who stayed too long in a story that wasn't mine to finish. I finally shook my head. Not really. I think more about who I was when I loved her, and how far away from that I am now. Leah's hand found mine, her fingers warm against the cool breeze drifting through the car. She didn't say anything poetic or heavy. She just held my hand as the highway curved, and somehow that felt like the clearest answer either of us could have given. After the incident, Emma disappeared from my life without a sound loud enough to echo. People whispered about her, unpaid debts, breakdowns, another relationship ending in wreckage. One day her social media vanished like she'd never existed at all, just deleted into quiet static. Some people felt sorry for her. Others judged her. I didn't do either. I just let it go. One evening, while closing up the studio, lights clicking off, the smell of darkroom chemicals fading, I turned to Leah and said, letting go isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the only way to keep your dignity intact. She nodded, not out of agreement alone, but out of understanding, the way someone nods because they've lived through their own version of the lesson. Healing isn't revenge. Healing isn't erasing the past. Healing is simply choosing peace, and refusing to hand your life back to the chaos that once ruled it.